I'm Cal Wellborn, acarologist with the Florida Department of Agriculture and Consumer Services, Division of Plant Industry in Gainesville, Florida. We're going to look at Typhlodomalis. We can see 4 pairs of legs. We'll move to higher magnification. You can see the 4 pairs of legs also at this view. There's leg 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're going to go to 40x. Okay, starting at couplet 1, we're going to look for the lateral stigmata, 1 to 4 pairs of lateral stigmata, posterior to leg 2, versus stigmata being in the anterior end near the gnathosoma. And there's your lateral stigmata right there, with a paratreme that goes anterior. There's a break in it there, that's for mounting, that's not the specimen. And then it continues on up this way. We'll look at the other side. Here's your lateral stigmata. Here's your paratreme going anteriorly. And then it sort of curves around, it comes up this way. Continues up to here. This is the midpoint of the anterior idiosoma. So it has lateral stigmata. So we'll look at the coxa. Here's coxa leg 1. You can see it's a discrete segment. Coxa leg 2. There's your trochanter, femur. Look at. Here we have legs 1, legs 2. There's coxa leg 1, coxa leg 2. So they are discrete segments. They're movable segments. Prodorsal trichobothria and podocephalic canals. And we have multiple setae on the prodorsum. And if you look carefully at each one of them, you see all of them look basically the same as far as the setal base. So it has a lateral stigmata. It doesn't have trichobothria. You can't see a podocephalic canal. And the coxae are free and movable. So this is a parasitiformes. Go to couplet 2. Now, we're looking at the Palptarsus now. We're looking for a multi-tine apatil on Palptarsus, 2 or 3 tines, or branches if you want to use that term. And here we have your Palptarsus, palptibia, palpgenu, and right there, about midway, here's your palpapatil. Look at the other side, and this happens frequently. That's why you look at both sides of the mite. On this one, you can't easily see the palpapatil here, but on this side, it's very clear. So you always want to look at both sides because you may not be able to see it on one side, but it shows up on the other. And the other thing is, if you have multiple specimens, if one just comes out so bad you can't see those characters, you can look at another specimen. So it does have the palpapatil. Paratremes projecting anteriorly, as we just saw. There's the anterior end of the paratremes coming up to the anterior end of the idiosoma. Tritosternum, usually present or absent. Here's the gnathosoma. This is the ventral, this is subcapitulum, the ventral side of the gnathosoma. And right here is the tritosternum. They're usually bifurcate. It is usually bifurcate. Let's go back and look at the epistome now. To see the epistome, we want to go to the dorsal side of the gnathosoma. And we can tell we're dorsal by looking at the idiosoma. These are the dorsal setae. So we're now looking at the dorsal side of the gnathosome. With these, that we use multiple characters for doing identification in case you can't see one. The hardest character to see in this couplet is the epistome. If it's clear, it's good. But I would have to say most of the time, it's very difficult to see. But it is a good character. Also in phytosaids, it's frequently very difficult to see. So we can't tell for sure about the epistome. Now we want to look at the dorsal sensory pit on leg 1. And you focus up and down. There are numerous CD, but there's no pit, no concentration of sensory CD. So it doesn't have the sensory CD, so this is a mesostigmata. As you get to know them, you'll come up with key characters that you'll look at and say, this is a mesostigmata. But until you're familiar with the immatures, it's best to run it through the key. Look for the characters and become familiar with the characters. Most people who work with mites a lot, they get to a point where they can look at a mite and say, okay, this is norbatid, this is nastig, this is a mesostig, and then go on to the more detailed keys of what they want to identify. But the hardest thing for someone getting started is, what group does it go into? Once you get there, there are keys you can work with.